All right, so guys, this first day of notes, okay, and this is kind of what our notes will look like. And what we'll do is I'll give you at least one assignment for every chapter that we do. Okay, this assignment is an opportunity for you to improve your grade. Okay, and if you don't do really well on the test, does that make sense? Okay, so look for that coming down the pike. That will be on Canvas. I'll post it, and I generally will give you at least 3 days to do an assignment. Okay, so some of you guys got to work tonight. You got stuff going on, right? So, all right. So this section 1 is entitled "Government and the Public Good." Okay, I want you to know something here. Okay, this term "public." Okay, the word "public." Let's throw some things behind that word, like public schools, public park, public swimming pool. What do all those things have in common? They're run by whom? The government. You guys with me on this? So anytime you use the word public, talking about what? The government. Okay? Generally, that's what we're talking about. Okay? Is the government. All right? So the public good, okay, this is a term I'll get into what public policy is here in a minute. Okay? So we start this class with a basic definition of government. Okay? What is government? Government is an institution with the power to make, enforce laws, for a group of people. Power to make and enforce laws for a group of people. Anybody know what this building is behind the notes right there? What we call that building? That's the U.S. Capitol. Okay? And who resides in the Capitol? Works there. No. The Congress. Okay? Now, how many houses are there in this Capitol building? Or chambers would be a more proper term. All right. All right. We're going to stop. We're going to stop. We got to get the basics, guys. Okay. Let's do the basics. All right. I think I might have done this a little bit. You can throw this definitely in your notes. Okay. But we have 3 branches of government. Okay. We have the legislature. Why is that so big? I don't want it that thick. Okay, let's do this. Come on. Come on. All right. You got the I don't know what's going on. That's the problem. What's the problem? All right, we got the What the? We're doing this again. Want to be at 100%. All right. There we go. All right. Legislative branch. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Constitution. You can always refer to this up here on the wall. There are 7 articles in the Constitution. The first 3 are the 3 branches of government. Article 1 discusses what? The legislative branch. Yes? Yes? Okay, now, another word for the legislative branch is what? Congress. See, we're doing the basics. All right. Which I should not take for granted that you know, Ron, right? I shouldn't assume you know this. Okay, so these are the same thing. The legislative branch and the Congress are, say it with me, the same thing. All right, so now within this body, we have what's called a bicameral system. What does bi mean? 2 cameral chambers. So if we look at that Capitol building that I just showed behind us, there's a chamber over here and a chamber over here, okay? So this first chamber is called the House of Representatives. Or the People's House. Okay, this is the one that's closer to the people. Okay, now, I think I've asked you this question before. How many members are there in the United States House of Representatives? It was on the board for like 10 days, right here. Ooh, 400 and something. We talked about this, right? Did we all say it together once or twice? Okay, we're going to do that now. Okay, I think we did. Maybe it's just 0 hour. Okay. 435. All right. Listen. How many members are there in the United States House of Representatives? 435. All right, one more time. All together now. How many members are there in the United States House of Representatives? 435. Okay, I reserve the right to ask you that anytime on any test, anywhere. And if you remember that, you're going to get points. Okay? What percentage of Americans know that number? Really? Like, half the population doesn't know 3 branches. So you're ahead of them, I think. Okay? All right, so we got the House. That's one chamber. Cameral, chamber. Okay? The other is, yes, United States Senate. And we know how many there are, right? 100. Easy way to remember this, guys? 50 stars. 50 states. Each state gets 2. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, how many members are there in the United States Congress? Good. Okay? So, we're doing math now, and government class is cross-curricular learning. All right? We're doing good. All right. So, what is the job of this body right here? What? To make laws. Okay? We're going to go with the L here. Legislate means to make laws. Okay? That's their number one role. There are other roles that Congress has, okay, that we will get into in due time. Okay? But this is the main thing. Okay? And they reside, yes, as I had in the back or of the slide, is the U.S. Capitol. Now, when they built the Washington, D.C., right? Washington, D.C., they made it out of the swamp, right? And of Maryland. You guys remember this? Like, we just built this. No? I didn't tell you it was a swamp? Yeah, so they took a little piece of Maryland and they said, we're going to create a government district where this is where the national government will be. Okay? So, real quick, we've had 3 U.S. capitals in the United States. First was what city? Where did you've heard of this, those First and Second Continental Congress meet? At the very beginning, like when we said, you know what, these British are pissing us off, we need to get together and work together. Where? No. Philadelphia. Okay? That's where they met, in Philadelphia. That's where Independence Hall is. That's where they signed the Declaration of Independence, in Philadelphia. That became our first capital. Now, after they wrote the first Constitution called the Articles of Confederation in 1781, this is during the American Revolution, they said, we're going to move the capital from Philadelphia to, anybody know where? Not D.C. yet. D.C.'s the third. Further north than Boston. New York City. So the second capital in U.S. history is New York City. And they agreed that With the new Constitution, 1787, we're going to create a district, which is now called the District of Columbia, right? Washington, D.C. And we're going to take a little piece of this swamp that nobody's using in Maryland, and we're going to build a national capital, okay? The Capitol building that I showed you on, oh, don't do that, on the other side, other slide, this one here is actually up on a little bit of a hill. So it wasn't on a swamp. It was up on a little bit of a hill. So oftentimes people refer to this as Capitol Hill. As some would say, they put this on a pedestal, on a hill, because this is the people's representation. These 535 members of Congress, they are the ones that represent us. Okay? And in political science terms, we refer to us as constituents. We are constituents of our representatives in Congress. Okay, we're all constituents of the President of the United States as well, and the governor of Kansas, and the mayor of Wichita, assuming you live in Wichita. If you don't live in Wichita, you got a different mayor. Does that make sense? But we are what are called constituents. Okay, so this is the basic layout of the first article of the Constitution. And what the Constitution says, now look at this. This is an outline. There's 7 articles. The first 2 columns here, guys, describe that branch. It's by far the most complicated. Okay? The third column here to about here describes the second branch, which is going to be the executive branch. Okay? Maybe I did need to use thicker marker. Okay, executive branch. All right, who's at the head of this? The president. And of course, we have a VP, right? I guess this is about the most worthless job ever created by man. That's what the first vice president said. Who was the first vice president in American history? John Adams. He's like, this is like the most worthless job you could ever have. Okay, I am nothing. Because really I have very little power. But I could become everything. Okay. Now, within this, the president has advisors, yes? And what do we call them? Cabinet. Now, there are 15 cabinet departments. And we will get to those, and we will learn those at the appropriate time. So if I say, fill in the blank, Department of Homeland Security. That was actually the last one created, 15, okay? So before that, we had we could try this too. Secretary of or Department of. You go Secretary of State, which was the second one created. Anybody know who our first Secretary of State was? Thomas Jefferson. Okay. Secretary of Defense. Third one created. Secretary of Transportation. Secretary of Treasury. First one created. Who was our first Secretary of Treasury? No. It's on the $10 bill. You guys use cash anymore? I got my wallet. Alexander Hamilton. Okay. Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Education, Secretary of, I mean, there's 15. Okay. Interior, Veterans Affairs, da 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 da. Okay. So these are another term for cabinet. This is the executive branch, are called executive departments. Okay, same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same. Okay. Now, underneath that, you have hundreds and hundreds of federal agencies. Okay, so the FBI. What's that? Federal Bureau of Investigation. This one's been in the news a little bit lately. Immigration Customs Enforcement. You heard of the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency? What about the FAA, the FTC, the FDIC? Okay, there are hundreds of these. Okay, now the role of the executive branch is to enforce or carry out the what? The law. So these people make the laws. You with me? Our representatives, the ones we elect, make the law. And then all these people that work for the president carry out the law. You with me? Okay, so I'm going to introduce a couple of terms here with you guys. This makes sense. This body has the purse. They control the money. They don't print the money. They control how much is going to be spent, how much is going to be taxed. We talk about taxes, right? Are taxes going to go up or go down? It depends on these people who we elect. They represent our will. Okay, and as you guys learned today or over the last 2 weeks, if you want lower taxes, generally, which party are you going to elect? Republicans. If you want lower taxes, Republicans. If you want more taxes or you want to tax the rich more, then you vote for Democrat. For this body and this body. Yes? But this body doesn't make the laws. They just carry it out. Okay? Now, over time, the president has gained a lot of power in American history. Okay? This is where the power is supposed to be. When you look at this Constitution, this is where the real power should be. These are the people that represent us. Okay? These people are supposed to just carry out what they say to carry out. But over time, the president's got more and more power. Okay? And so have these people that work for him. Okay? Now, they have what's called the sword. The executive branch has the sword. The legislative branch has the purse. Everybody following that? All right. So one way to kind of remember this, guys, executive is the word execute. Okay, which basically means enforce, carry out the law, execute the law. Okay, and they have the sword. All right, now we good here? All right, I don't have room on this for the third branch. We'll go right here. Okay, the judicial branch. Now, if you look over here at the Constitution, okay, not very much on that. Okay, there's not much on the judicial branch. Okay, which leaves a lot up to interpretation. Like, what do they actually want this body to do? Well, the Constitution only mentions one court. That we will have one Supreme Court. Okay, and it shall have 9 justices. Then the Constitution says that all other courts below this one will be created by Congress. So over time, guys, as we started as a new nation, the Congress added other federal courts. Now, one thing you got to understand, like, so we have states and we have the national government. So states have, all 50 states have a Supreme Court. All 50 states have appeals courts, and most communities have local courts. So like we in Wichita and Sedgwick County, there's a Sedgwick County court and there's a Wichita municipal court, municipal just meaning city. Okay, so we have local courts all over the country. Okay, here we're just talking about the U.S. government, okay, and the Supreme Court. Now, what is their job? Their job is to interpret what? The law, which this, guys, is the supreme law of the land. The Constitution is the law of the land. But then Congress also makes laws, right? So Congress, their laws can be judged by the Supreme Court. You know what else? The president and his actions can be judged by the Supreme Court as well. Okay, so their role is to interpret the law and the Constitution. Now, just give you a quick example of how this could impact you at some point. Okay. Now, hopefully, most people go through their lives and never have to deal with the judicial branch. You don't want to deal with the judicial branch because you're going to need a lawyer, and lawyers are expensive. Okay, you just with me? Okay, so how many of you guys know this is a thing? Oh, shoot, the bell's about to ring. I'll tell a story. Okay, so all right, we're good. This hitting the basics here. All right, then we'll get back to the notes tomorrow. Like and subscribe.